Welcome to my first ever deck spotlight video featuring Ivankov, the Queen of Impel Down.
Thank you for coming. Are you ready?
Ivankov is a high aggression mid-range combo deck specializing in flooding the field with high power threats, all the while having a nearly infinite gas tank. This deck features one of the most threatening boards during the mid to late game and can be extremely hard to deal with. Leader ability. Ivankov's ability draws him a whopping 2 cards at the end of each of your turns. You have 0 cards in hand. This essentially means when used correctly, you will never run out of cards to play. Deck anatomy. There are 3 types of cards that form the core of the deck: the facilitators, the guards, and the bombs. Facilitators are cards you will not only need to assemble the combo pieces to win the game, but also secure 2k counters on top of the deck for when you draw at the end of your turn. A skilled Ivankov player will take account of duplicate combo pieces that are being bottom decked and also set up next turn's draw in order to combo consecutively. Guards are cards you will use to survive the early game and also protect key characters like Luffy. Blockers come in handy for late game protection, but can also double as another way to threaten your opponent's field. Inazuma is a powerful 4-cost card that can not only block for 7k, but also attack for the same amount. This does, however, require you to have 1 or less cards in your hand, a feat that can easily be done with the deck. Bombs are the cards that will never win you the game, and also an essential part of what makes Ivankov such a powerhouse deck. For the cost of 7, Ivankov will not only provide you with more cards in hand, but also allow you to drop a second large body on the board, i.e. Luffy, one of the scariest cards in Blue's disposal. Being able to discard to bounce at 4 costs or less and also get double strike both on play and on attack is insanely powerful. The Sauce. My take on this deck is one many would argue, but I believe is the most consistent version and is optimized to survive the most aggressive decks. This is my underlying strategy during deck building and real-time games. This is also the reason why I chose to play New Kama Land at 3 and cut the 9-cost Mihawk out of the list. Playstyle. Early game, you will utilize your resources to protect your life at all costs. Your goal is to survive with little to no damage by being super aggressive with countering cards from hand and blockers. You will also need to have both Luffy and Ivankov in hand by the time you get to 7 Dawn. You do this by using your facilitators to deck search or bottom deck cards for the 2 combo pieces. In mid-game, at 7 or 8 Dawn, your job is to play Ivankov with Luffy, all the while preparing the following turns to play another Ivankov alongside an Impel Down threat like Croc, Luffy, or even Galdino and Inazuma. Your facilitator cards will come in handy during these turns to set up a constant flow of 7-cost Ivankovs. Remember, Luffy's ability to bounce cards can also be used on your own facilitators for an additional search. In the late game, your goal is to put heavy pressure on your opponent's life in order to prevent your opponent from committing Dawn to play late game characters. You will need to close out the game before they stabilize their late game presence and you run out of Ivankov to continue to fill your field. It will be difficult for you to protect your life with your hands since you only have 2 cards most turns. You will rely on your blockers to prevent damage and your persistent countering early game to keep your life at a healthy range. Weaknesses. Small hand size. Because Ivankov rewards players by having little to no cards in hand, the deck often struggles against attacks of 7k or more. Always keep in mind to consistently swing with 2k or more power in order to guarantee damage goes through. Going for exact amount is fine too as long as you have multiple attackers. Linear gameplay. Ivankov is extremely good at what it does, but is also very limited in what it can do. This means the deck can be very predictable. A savvy opponent may not play certain cards on the field in order to mitigate the tempo loss from the Luffy bounce. Can implode before the game starts. This deck is very consistent, but in rare occasions will have some horrendous hands. Hands with no facilitators or multiple copies of a single combo piece should almost always be mulligan. Getting stuck with such a hand could hamper your game plan for the rest of the game. Deck list. Here's a list I have been using to much success. Feel free to make adjustments to better fit your playstyle and dominate your locals with Ivankov. And that's all I got for you today, crew. Hope you enjoyed this edition of Saucy Deck Spotlight, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!